Hello, everyone. Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, which is our radio station. And you are listening to the newsstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold. Those of you that don't know the New Streaming Network, what we do is we really connected singles in the Going Solo arena, right, through our media. And by doing that, we've also realized that we've got to go bold in life. So we've brought in a lot of inspiration, a lot of education, business, things like that. And that's where we brought in the Going Bold media. So then we add it all together. We come up with the newsstreamingnetwork.com. So I want to thank you guys for listening to us on that. We are listening to the BizBuzz Igniting Success, but we are combining it with the Going Solo Good Reads Author's Corner, Meet the Author, because we're talking about a book today. I got the back of the book. It's the back of the book with our beautiful author here. And this is the book here. This book is very different than some of the books that we've been actually talking about here on the network, because this book truly helps our animals, right? And we love our pets. We love our dogs. And this book is called Dogs Have Angels Too. I started reading it, and it is a great read. I'm not finished yet. I will tell you I'm not finished because my schedule is so crazy, but I am enjoying the book tremendously. So we're going to talk to the author, Sarah, here today. We're going to talk a little bit about it. But the beauty of this book is not only how entertaining the book is, which is quite entertaining because I told you I started reading it, but what it does even during the book, during the time that you're spending reading it, but after you read the book, how it helps our pets and our animals in the world today. And so Sarah is really helping a lot of people. So let's bring her forward here. Sarah, come on and let us know a little bit more about you.
Thank you so much for being, for allowing me to be a guest on your lovely podcast show. And my name is Sarah Cavallaro, and I am the author of Dogs Have Angels Too. And I'd love to chat about what that's all about.
Yeah, because I tell you what, you really use your storytelling to spread positive message and inspiration and love. Your mission is not impossible. It activates us to our best self, reaches out and helps people and helps animals in need. And I think that is really what we want to try to get across here with everyone. This book is not only helping all of us today in our own personal world, but it's also helping those animals in need. And you also on your website, and I want to share your website right off the bat, Dogs Have Angels Too. So that's dogs, DOGS, have, HAVE, angels, ANGELS, TOO.com. She has products on there. You want to purchase a book, you can purchase it on there. It's on Barnes & Noble, it's on Amazon, it's on all those other places. But if you get it from her website, actually a little bit more money goes towards helping those animals in need. And that's what we want to do today. She has other products on there. She's got like sweatshirts, t-shirts, she's got coffee cups, things like that you could purchase that would also help animals in need. So she's really going out of her way to do more to not only just promote a book, right, which is a good book, it's a good book, but she's helping animals in need. And that's truly an important thing that we want to make sure that we share with the audience. So tell us a little bit why you decided, number one, to write such a book and to help our animals out there in need. Tell us a little bit more about you and why you started this venture.
Okay. Well, at the time I was running my own production company, producing TV commercials, and I was seeking a deeper meaning in my life. And I would often go to Central Park. This was all taking place in New York City. In fact, the book, the atmosphere is New York City, and it's fast paced, actually, like New York City. So, okay, so I'd sit in Central Park, and I love animals. I love dogs. I've been involved with, I've rescued dogs in crazy situations. But at the time I was seeking a deeper meaning in my life. And I sat next to a woman who was having a really tough time in her life. It was, she had lost her job. She was a very powerful media executive. And she I think, was falling into a very deep depression, and she used to pet all the dogs they would pass, and she would like grab for them, and they would be a little bit, the owners would pull the leashes back because they thought maybe she was a little bit much. And I would also try to I would pet the dogs and talk to the dogs passing. And we were both kind of like in a strange place. Both of us kind of taking a break in a way from these, from this kind of programmed way of living. But I was still very involved in my business, but she didn't have a business. She was also, so she was losing her teeth. And she had been what I believe to be a very attractive, powerful woman. But having the husband leave her, the job, she lost her money, some of her investments through a Ponzi scheme. And I said to him, and she started to tell me about her life. And we became kind of friendly. And I would sit there during lunch, and then I'd leave, and she'd be there, and this happened over a month period. Then she disappeared. So I started to write about her and how someone tries to reinvent their life by finding purpose. And what would be her purpose would be the dog, the love of the dogs, the underdog. And so I built this story. Her name in the book is Lena Schwartz, who becomes this character but she's not a character, becomes Miss Pink. Miss Pink loves wearing pink. She starts to her clothes start to become tattered. She can't find a job. And she becomes the biggest dog rescuer ever. She ends up helping as many dogs as possible in New York and finding them homes. And she has all these creative ways to find them homes. And then she also helps the people that are going through their own trauma to also rescue dogs. So she kind of like becomes this Pied Piper for all of the people that are depressed. And, in Central Park, there at the time, I don't know how it is now, but this was a while ago, it was like 20 years ago, people would live there and they didn't necessarily get thrown out. And people were kind of somewhat homeless, then they would disappear, then they'd come back, they'd get into a shelter. So I explored also what homelessness was, what it's like to be a very powerful person. And all of a sudden, everything changes. You fall into a depression, and where do you find your purpose? How do you find purpose? Well, let me tell you, helping dogs in need and people in need will give you purpose. And so I think that was the genesis of this, of my book. And it took me a long time because you have to figure out the structure, you have to figure out all the characters. And my love for animals, especially any animal that's been abused, abandoned, is old and discarded. We can't treat our animals like that. We have to re-educate this whole world because you can't have a cruel society like that. You have to take care of people in need, and you got to take care of animals in need. So that was the primary focus and one of my reasons for writing the book.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. It actually truly is an entertaining book. I mean, I was because when I first started reading, I didn't really know what it was. I was thinking it was something about angels and maybe death or something like this. But I found it to be quite interesting. Oh, here's my little one. Try to be interesting, as I progressed reading it. But it is so vital. It's so important because we're all going to be there. We're all going to be older. We're all going to go through that. And I think a lot of elderly do go through a sense of depression. Maybe they're not homeless, or maybe they haven't been such a tragic as Miss Pink, but they do. And I remember my father telling me, as he goes older, as he got older, his friends started, being separated from his friends, and, them passing and different things happening, and being by himself, and his whole world started to take a different kind of shift. And your animals, believe it or not, can bring you such comfort and joy during that time. So I think having an animal, maybe helping you get through some of the tough times in life, is not a bad thing. Certainly not a bad thing. And we definitely do need to take care of the animals. I mean, abuse and things like that. Just like people, I mean, animals get abused, and yeah, we should definitely help them. We should definitely help because I mean, they're more helpless than an individual. So yeah, so it's
Well,
a
yeah,
crime.
and also like Miss Pink had to get through a lot of fears too.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about the real Miss, the lady that I kind of
Right.
envisioned, because Miss
Create
Pink,
a character in
right,
your.
my character is really a culmination of so many characters that I've met in the past in my life, and I put them all into this one person who becomes, she's a star. She's an absolute star. And but so when she had to get through this fear, she was afraid of big dogs. And when she went to the shelter, Mr. Bull, who's a pit bull, uh, they were going to euthanize. And she had so much empathy for his journey, and she had to get through the fear of a big dog and of the fear of, oh, it's a pit bull. And she likened him to a man, and she fell in love with this dog.
Mhm.
And she had this incredible like spiritual relationship, a spiritual connection with him. And she got through her fear. And in getting through her fear of, oh my God, he's going to attack me, or or he looks vicious, she realized he was the most passive loving, but had an accident and accidentally, bit somebody. But it wasn't, it was a confusion. The dog was confused about something. And so they were going to euthanize him. So there's all these little stories within a story
Mhm.
about, who do you select to euthanize, and who are we to euthanize anything? Like
Right.
there's a moral code that also gets brought up. And also, because you no longer function, and you talk about old people, you're talking about the isolation of older people, right? Well, a senior dog, okay, let's say a senior dog has accidents everywhere in the house because there's bladder issues. Well, what do? You just euthanize him? I mean, it doesn't work.
Mhm.
So it's almost like the animals are teaching us really like a baseline of, you better not treat us poorly, because you're going to end up, we're going to continue then to treat humans poorly too. You
Mhm.
have to readjust the way that you see what's conditional love versus unconditional love. Just because a dog's old, okay, that's the condition of the dog.
Right.
It
Right.
shouldn't be abandoned.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the problem is there's a lot of issues like finances. So I have aligned with certain, and I want to support very much these organizations. Like there's one, if you go on the website, there's one that is for senior dogs. It's Pet Forward. There's one for keeping homeless people who can keep their pets, because this organization feeds the dogs and gives them medical care. So the dogs are taken care of, so the homeless people don't even have to be, worried about that.
Right.
Okay. And so then there's, there's for autistic children, you're training dogs to help autistic, and for PTSD. There's all these organizations, and there's hundreds of them. I've just selected what I resonate with, in each category. One for homeless, one for retraining, PTSD people, retraining the dogs to help them.
Mhm.
Don't separate the person who doesn't have the money, who has to surrender a dog. Help them out to keep their dogs. So there's so many organizations now that exist that did not exist 20 years ago. Even when I started my first rescue in the 70s, I was in Ohio, and they were going to euthanize a little puppy.
Oh dear.
And I went to a shelter. I was in college. I was living in a dorm. And I
Mhm.
went to a shelter, and I found this little dog. In fact, that is the name of the little dog in my book, Athena. And
Oh.
that little dog I took and I put in my dorm room, and nobody said anything for 2 years. And then I moved to New York, and of course, I was okay. But I hid that dog. I walked, I went around a million circles because they were just killing puppies. puppies in the 70s. I mean, we've come a long way, but we have to go further and protect animals, not have these crazy pet, what are they called? Puppy mills and all this stuff that doesn't promote wellness for animals.
Yeah, I think your book is definitely bringing awareness in your website. So again, I'm going to show the website. We have the website up there, but so
I even have it. Can I show a cup that so I made these from the character. I took messages. Miss Pink talks a lot because she has all these, quirky kind of beautiful positive affirmations. So one of hers was love multiplies. So I made cups with different affirmations. And they're beautiful coffee cups. So I have that. And these are all on my website. And I have I have a computer bag. And it says mercy, peace, and love be yours in abundance. So I also took beautiful biblical quotes. I have power to the underdog quotes.
I like that.
My t-shirts, like I have one here. I don't know. I don't want to show you. Yeah. Power to the underdog.
I like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Like all these products, some of the proceeds from this will go to these dog rescue organizations that I have on them that you can research, and they're on the website.
Right. Right. And again, the book, it would make a nice gift. This would make a wonderful gift to someone. So if you're interested in the book, please take advantage of it. You can purchase it also on the website. And again, part of the sales will go towards the helping of the animals. So yeah,
For Mother's Day.
Yeah, Mother's Day. Mother's Day
is coming.
It'd be a nice book, and then you could buy a few of them and give them over, for Christmas and things like that. So you could do things like that.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so you could. I already got your Christmas shopping done right here. Bam, one spot.
Thank you.
That'd be great. But it makes a nice gift. You got Easter, right? You could throw it in, some of the teenagers or whatever in their baskets and things like that for Easter. So yeah, it makes a really nice gift. It's a wonderful story how you've intertwined, various different aspects of it. And I think it's a great book. It's a great book, and it's pretty. It's also a nice, attractive looking book. So
thank you. And
sure.
So I continue to write. I just wrote a short story for a dog magazine, but they haven't published it yet, so I can't mention the magazine. But it was called Crate Me Not, and it was about using the crate not to punish a dog, but to train the dog. But it was a fictional story that I wrote. It was a short story about a couple, and they're fighting over this, and a young couple, and they're kind of like learning how to raise this Rhodesian Ridgeback that her boyfriend thinks, he knows how to do it. And of course, she sees that he's not really up to par with that. He needs to learn more about how to raise this dog. So I try to put in little educational elements into my fictional stories, because I think storytelling is absolutely the most, for me, and I know children, and we all love storytelling. So it teaches us everything about life. And we actually live in stories, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, our whole life is a story, right? It's unfolding seems like every year a new chapter, or every month a new chapter. So yeah, it depends on how active your life is. But yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And I used to always say that to my divorce group, is like, it's just a new chapter in life, and, the end of the story is not written. So, we've got a long ways to go. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I love it. And I just will share with you that we adopted, my ex and I, when we lived in London. We went to Battersea there with adoption for dogs, and it was over like the railroad track, right? And so we went there, and you could hear the rumbling of the train. And when we went, the dog that we were looking at, we call her Sadie, and she was a whippet. So she looked like Bambi. She was so small. She was like knee high. She looked like Bambi, and she would just shake. And I remember them saying, "Oh, you don't want her. She she's not adapting very well or whatever. And of course,
Mhm.
bingo, when you say that to me, you don't want her. It's like, I want her, And so my ex was the same way. And he was like, oh, no. And so we took her out, played with her a little bit, and she seemed to come around. And I think it was the train scared the daylights out of her because it was so loud and, everything. So we took her home, and
Mhm.
so we got her, we adopted her, we took her home, and our backyard was like fenced in over there. It's different, that kind of fence. It's like all bricked in, and she ran around in a circle so many times. She was so happy.
Mhm.
Oh, she was just ecstatic, and she was the best dog. We had her for years. She learned to play. She could play soccer with her paws with my son, and they would go out in the backyard and play soccer together. I mean, she was a great, great dog. And what made me think about the crate, like we started doing, we left her in the house and she tore the house up. I mean, she didn't know what to do. And I mean, it was like a nightmare when you come in and you see everything. I've seen those shows where all the cushions are destroyed, everything is destroyed. It was like that. We were like, oh my gosh, what have we gotten into? So we got her a crate, right? We got the crate. And over there, they didn't like to do that, but we brought it over from the US. We got a crate and we put her in. And that was the best thing we ever did. It was like that was her safety.
Yeah, it's a safe space.
Yeah, she loved that. We got a blanket and everything. We rubbed it all around us, and we made my son go in there and lay in there and everything.
Well, yeah, your son, it
Yeah,
became a loving space.
yeah.
That's what the girlfriend is fighting for. She's
Mhm,
saying it's a loving space. He's saying,
mhm,
oh, we have to punish the dog in the crate. But that's not the truth. The truth is you love the dog in the crate, and
mhm.
the dog wants to go into the crate because it is a safe space.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
that's what we did. And we would lock her in occasionally, but it got to the point where we didn't lock her in anymore. The door was just open, and she would just go in there, and she was fine. We didn't have any more trouble with her after that.
right,
So she was
exactly.
great. But yeah, but she just needed that. And you think about how we are, right? We have our home as our safe place.
Oh
She
yeah.
didn't have anything. She didn't know. We took her into this new environment, and she just didn't know what to do. And but
She was
yeah.
terrified. That's why, and she
Mhm.
was so nervous. And they're whippets are so sensitive.
Yeah, yeah.
And to heat, to cold, everything. They're made like there's two whippets I know that live around like 2 blocks from us,
Hmm.
and they have to wear coats almost in the summer. They're always cold.
Yeah, so you can imagine how she was there in this, damp and
Yeah, the
place.
damp.
It just was not nice. But yeah, she was great. We brought her from England to the US, right? So
Wow.
yeah. So we brought her right with us, and yeah, we were really happy to get her back. And yeah, we had her for a long time, but she was a good, good dog, very good dog.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, gave us a lot. So again, we want to be able to give to, back to the animals, back to the rescues. And so we want everyone to know that, that you can definitely do. I also want to point out that your dog rescue novel, The Dogs Have Angels Too, is a past winner in the women's fiction from the Indie Reader Discovery Awards. So this is
Yeah.
a very good book, a very tasteful book, a
Yeah.
great book, to maybe give as a gift and things like that. So people would do that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you do for the rescues so that, people know that you wrote this book to give back, to do something, to make a difference for a purpose. So that's what's truly important. So again, the website is Dogs Have Angels Too, and that's dogs plural, DOGS, have, HAVE, angels, ANGELS, to TOO.com. So check out the website. It's cute as can be. We've got the cutest little dog on there. So it's a great little website, and it's got products you can purchase if you want to help some of the rescues. It would be so appreciative. And then also, purchase the book, and then, that will also, if you purchase it on the website, part of that will go. You can get it on Amazon or anywhere else, but if you purchase it from the website, she can save a little bit money and she can actually do a little bit more with it to help some of the dog rescues. So please do. But again, the book's called Dogs Have Angels Too. So we'll be right back. You guys are listening to New Streaming Network, which is home of Going Solo and Going Bold and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. We'll be right back, everyone. Just hang tight. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to BizBuzz Igniting Success. And we're also talking with the Going Solo Goodreads Authors Corner, Meet the Author. We have a wonderful author here today on the newstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. So we are talking about this wonderful book, which is Dogs Have Angels Too. And we have our wonderful guest here today, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love being here. And I so appreciate the support of your podcast to talk about Dogs Have Angels Too. It's so important.
It definitely is. Definitely.
Yeah. And, I named the book Dogs Have Angels Too because I felt that, I believe we have angels, humans, but I also believe that dogs have angels, and not just the humans that are the good, positive part of the human race that are the angels, but I think that they also, live in a spiritual realm, and I think that they have the same spirits and angels and love and protection that all living life on this planet has. So that's why I named that book T-O-O. They also have them. You can't deny the dogs, the angels.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that because, your storytelling, and it looks like you're doing even more things, but it's very positive. You spread your message of inspiration and love, and we do appreciate that. But also, I want everyone to know out there, too, that you are the founder and the president of Emerald Films Inc. and a former award-winning TV commercial and production company. So you're not, just someone that sits home and decides they're going to write a book. You have your own career that you decided you wanted to write a book, which is great.
Right, exactly. And I had produced television commercials. Our company, I founded the company in the late 80s, and we produced a ton of TV commercials for the soft drink industry, for the automotive, for the beauty industry. And we worked with the top TV commercial directors in the world, and very proud of that. And we did it all over. Our offices were in New York and Los Angeles. And it's funny, I even had clients that produced pet food. And I had designed at the time a kit for animals. It was I was very much younger. I didn't even understand how to launch it. It was a first aid kit, but I wanted the sponsorship of the pet food industry, this one particular client. They didn't go for it, but I was hoping to move in that direction then,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've always had this passion. I mean, It sounds like even when you were,
a little girl.
Yeah.
Even when I was a little girl, I had found a little kitten, brought the kitten home, and guess what? My father took the kitten away and put it into a parking lot. That's what I think that was the beginning of me learning what to do and not to do.
Right. And that probably instilled in you that you want to rescue, these animals because that happened to you. You realize that happened. Yeah. And that was very upsetting to you. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, I think we all are coming from something that ignites a direction in our life, whether it's a mentor or if it's a circumstance, or it's a culmination of circumstances. I mean, we don't just come out of nowhere. We come from somewhere. And I think I believe we choose life journey based on what we have to work on in this life. I mean, what we have to learn, what we've got to give, how you grow, how do you find purpose. And I believe that the finding purpose is like the greatest thing in the world. It makes you happy. It makes other people happy. You have something to give. It's unconditional. And it's true self-love, actually.
True.
So, and that was another characteristic of my character, Miss Pink. I wanted to embody that characteristic in her. And even against all her odds, she had to find a positive way to walk through her life and give back. It is for the underdog. The underdog is almost the metaphor for, obviously to help an animal in need, but to help a person and to help yourself. You can't help anybody until you help yourself. So that was the other impetus for my writing. And of course I worked, because that's what I have to do.
I know you have to do that sometimes.
Successfully. And that's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we love what we do too. I'm sure you love what you do. I love what I do, but I agree with that. I think that there's a purpose in our lives, right? There's a path that we're supposed to be taking. Maybe we don't understand it. Why does some go through, difficult situations where others don't seem like they go through those situations, but they go through something else. You know what I mean? There's always something, right, that an individual's going through. And so finding your purpose is huge. It's absolutely
huge. It's huge.
And I love the idea of this book because it's kind of like sidesteps and moves around and, makes you think a little bit. And that's a good thing. And then on top of that, it's for a good cause. It's for something that's going to change lives of animals, change maybe even your life as you're reading it. So it's it's a very inspirational book, but also, it's got a purpose and it's got a reason and it's got a positive end result when you purchase the book, and then also, go on your website and maybe purchase some of the other items that you could help out, because you can not only can share and you give them away as gifts and do different things like that, but it's, the end result is truly helping some of these animals and animals in need it, because who else is going to help them, right? They can't always help themselves, so yeah.
No, they can't. And also, when I wrote the book, I wanted to do a very quick read. I wanted to do something that moves fast, and I also wanted to add humor. I have a lot of humor in the book, and because that's the only way I can digest sometimes tragedy. I can digest it because I could see. Because there's more of a balance, it's almost Shakespearean in a way. Not that I'm writing like Shakespeare, but the experience is kind of like the opposite side. You have the drama, you have the comedy. I think that's for me interesting to write in that way, and also to read novels that have both.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you need something that's going to be, I think in today's world, we need something that's a little bit of a quick read. Definitely. We don't want these great, big, huge, thick books. Remember how they used to be years ago, right? Now we're doing ebooks and smaller books, but then also having some humor to it. And I like the idea that it touches on real life too, because there is sorrow in real life. I mean, there is difficulties. There are different things. And it's sometimes, I've always said, it's not, we all have challenges in life to different degrees or whatever, but it's what we do with those challenges that makes a difference in us. It builds our character. It makes it who we are, the essence of us. And so, and I love the idea of helping animals, like I was telling you before the show, my sister had passed away, and I've taken over, her little dog, who has given me such pleasure now for several years. And and at first because I didn't think I wanted a dog, but now I couldn't imagine my world without her, so it's
And the name of your dog is?
Little Girl.
Yeah,
the name of her is Little Girl, because she is very, very small. She's a tiny little girl, but she's we can hear her when someone drops off a package. She's better than an alarm. She's got it, but she hardly ever barks, which is different for a Chihuahua. Very, very different. But she's a good girl. But I think a lot of people, they have pets out there, whatever. I used to have a turtle. So, I mean, when I took care of my little turtle, and when there was just a little bitty thing, the kids, had 2 turtles when they were little, and they grew up. One passed away.
They grew big?
He was like this big. And I took him up to my grandson, and Tommy the turtle, and then they were going to take him, and then he's quite a lot of work. You had to keep emptying his tank and doing all this stuff. And so they ended up giving him to someone else that would be able to better take care of him. But so that's a thing, is like and we were talking about that previous to the show, is that, you get to the point where maybe you can't take care of your pet anymore. What do you do? Things like that. And so, so these rescues are very, very vital, because they're not animals. They're not always animals that there's something wrong with them. They're just animals in need, right? And so we want
like senior dogs, you said, or someone passes away and there's nobody to take care of the dog. Where does that dog go? So they end up in these, foster care, and they try to find these rescues try to find homes. And sometimes people put them in foster care, and they stay there, and they decide whether they want, they want to keep the dog or not. My son has fostered many dogs, and he kept 2, but you can only have 2 in an apartment. It's too much in New York City beyond 2 for him. So, you have to make sure that your dog, if you're older, really older, or you're sick, you have to make sure that you have the right, I don't know if you have a will or some kind of legal document, or some kind of agreement with a friend or a family member, that they know that dog's going to be theirs, and they're going to take care of that dog.
Right. Which is exactly what I did. I mean, she had asked me if anything happened to her. She had some health issues. And I said, well, I don't really want a dog, but okay, if something would happen. And then she did pass, and it's like, oh, wow. But now it's the best thing that ever happened to me. So, So I think you have to think about it like that. And I know that there's many ways, there's many things that you think about. I want to throw it out there, that you could do to help animals in need. I have a friend that she's a beautiful photographer. She takes wonderful pictures. She volunteers at our, dog society, or whatever it is, the Humane Society here, and she takes pictures of the kitty cats and all the older cats over, and she puts them up on the website, and they look great, and they get adopted out all right away, because her pictures are just so beautiful. And so, so there's many things that you can do to try to help. And the biggest thing right now we're going to ask you is to buy the book, right? Go to the website. I'm going to share that. Go to the website, haveangels2.com, and purchase the book. And part of that, the proceeds will go to rescuing some of the animals, to help a dog rescue. And then there's other products on there that you can purchase that will also help the dog rescue. And this is a perfect present for Mother's Day, Christmas presents, anyone that likes to read, an older person that loves to read. So it's a great read. So
or book clubs. It's great with book clubs, because there's so many questions that you can do. There's so many book club questions that are fantastic and open for discussion. And it's been in book clubs, and people really enjoy that discussion.
Right. So Oprah, if you're listening, right here.
Or Reese Witherspoon has one. I think Jenna Bush has one.
That's right. Jenna, if you're listening. Well, I know you're listening, Jenna, but you need to get this book, Dogs Have Angels Too, and put this on your book club. So we want to definitely, all of those famous people out there, they have book clubs, please get this book and put it on your book club and help the dog rescues. So we want to make sure we do that.
Bravo.
Well, it is a joy having you on. I just absolutely love you and all that you're doing. So thank you so much. Are there any last words you'd like to share with our audience today?
I just want to thank you, Cece. I feel so happy and honored that you gave the book and me as an author at the time. And I want to say thank you to your audience, and thank you for listening and supporting this beautiful message. And, God bless you all.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Well, again, go to the website, Dogs Have Angels Too. That's dog, DOGS, have, HAVE, angels, ANGELS, to TOO.com. And then you can purchase the book there. You can have other products. They have t-shirts, sweatshirts. They have coffee cups, which are really cute. They have all kinds of different things that if you purchase the products, part of the proceeds will help for a dog rescue. So we want to make sure that we do that and help the dogs out there. And it's a delightful read. This is absolutely a fun, delightful read, great present for someone. So please pick up your copy today. And let's like cause stress for her to be able to print all these copies off. Let's do that. That would be fun. That would be fun. So Sarah, we love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you too. Take care of yourself.
Okay. Oh, we appreciate you. Okay, everyone, you're listening to the Goodreads, the Going Solo Goodreads, Author's Corner, Meet the Author, and the BizBuzz Igniting Success. I am your host here, Cece Shatz. I want to thank you so much for listening to newstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold, and our wonderful radio station, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. Bye for now, everyone.